flooding damage caused by Hurricane Helene. For some, the struggle to get drinking water could go on for weeks. Sam Brock is in North Carolina.
For the saturated and stunned residents of Swannanoa, North Carolina.
There's 6 inches of just the wettest, sludgiest mud that you can think of across the whole house.
Finding even small keepsakes.
This is the first picture we took with my grandfather and my youngest daughter, Celeste.
Can be massive moral victories.
These are things you can't get back. There's no amount of FEMA that will put these pictures back.
This working class neighborhood accessible now for the first time as some roads have opened up and community needs crystallizing like the eye of a storm.
I think the hardest thing right now is there's no power, there's no water, cell service is spotty at best.
With roads destroyed, mules are carrying food to some cut-off communities.
If you have like different family members across the community and you can't reach them, you don't know if they're okay.
All of this against the backdrop of a death toll quickly rising, with more than 90 killed in North Carolina as President Biden took an aerial tour Wednesday. Every single X that you see on a car or structure is the sign of something searched. There are 1, 2, 3 vehicles here, 1 shed, that makes 4, and countless other structures that can't even be accessed. The roofs on some homes punctured by people escaping as those injured are facing untenable conditions at some hospitals.
Everything people see on the news, it's worse in person. It's worse.
Hannah Drummond works at Mission Hospital in Asheville, where she says 200 patients have been placed in an ER meant for 100.
They ran out of food for us on Saturday, so the patients and the staff in the ER weren't eating. When you can't use the toilets, that means I have to find a commode and I have to find a biohazard bag or some kind of receptacle.
HCA Health, which oversees the hospital, has not responded to multiple NBC News requests for comment. In eastern Tennessee, a host of neighborhoods remain inaccessible and in dire need of help. Today, a vital lifeline for some, as Army Black Hawk helicopters drop supplies to communities still cut off. And back in North Carolina,
God bless you.
more heartbreak at the food banks. Tanya Peterson telling our Antonia Hilton her grandkids had not eaten in days.
We're running what little gas we got out of a junk car for the generator to be able to heat the bottles up for the babies. It's terrible. We've got people looting for gas coming through your yards. It's awful. It's awful. No one's coming to check on you. No one.
And Sam, this is so horrible, but especially troubling is this lack of water. Is there an update on that crisis tonight?
There is, Lester, and unfortunately this is quite a blow. The county saying that both the water treatment and delivery systems are catastrophically damaged. They cannot even provide an update to residents as to any sort of timeline. This is people are just trying to remove debris from properties and sheared roofs off the front of their yards. Lester.
All right, Sam, thanks for bringing us this story. Vice President Harris also toured some of those storm-ravaged areas today after former President Trump went there earlier this week, all following what was perhaps the last debate before the election. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, a triple threat is looming over the presidential campaign. The rising tensions in the Middle East, a deadlocked port strike threatening to raise prices.
We're hearing from the folks regionally that they're having trouble getting product they need because of the port strike.
And the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
There's a lot of work that's going to need to happen over the coming days, weeks, and months.
Late today, Vice President Harris visiting the storm zone in Battleground, Georgia, 2 days after former President Trump went there. Her trip coming after last night's debate, where J.D. Vance and Tim Walz remained civil while attacking each other's running mates.
Donald Trump put this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus Wade.
You've simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens.
Walz struggling when pressed about his past claim that he was visiting China during the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown, when in fact he did not arrive until months later.
I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times. All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this, so I will just... That's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Well, tonight, the Harris campaign is highlighting Vance's refusal to acknowledge Trump lost the 2020 election.
And I would just ask that, did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
President Biden's name was mentioned just 7 times last night. It comes after NBC News reported Biden has privately complained his name and accomplishments have virtually disappeared from the national conversation. Lester?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. In 60 seconds, how threats against election workers nationwide are prompting some pretty drastic measures. Panic buttons, reinforced doors, and more. Vote Watch is right after this.